Hey everybody, this is Mr. Ainsworth, and we're going to get into your quiz corrections here. So get out your red pen, pencil, red pen, all that, straight edge, and I want you to do some serious test corrections, and I want you to do them on graph paper, okay? So this must be done on graph paper. In fact, I'm going to write that down. These are test quiz question requirements. So corrections must be done on graph paper. So if you don't have any and you don't have a straight edge, well, you better stop and pause and get a red pen and let's do it right, okay? And if you are ready, get your spiral out, graph paper, ruler, and all that. Then here we go. We're going to pause and play throughout the video. If I go too fast, obviously pause it. It's a video. And whatever I do in here, if I ask you to do something in particular to make sure that I know for a fact that you've been watching the video, then make sure you do that. Otherwise, when you provide evidence to me that you actually did this, I should be able to tell just by looking at your quiz corrections whether you actually watched the video and listen to me, because I'm going to ask you to do specific things. So do a good job on this. Practice what you learn. Practice the correct way. And fix your mistakes. And so let's get started. So here we go. We're going to graph each line given the following equation here by using the x and y intercepts. All right, so we got an equation 2x minus 4y equals 8. Here it is. It's given to us, okay? That's a linear equation in what's called standard form. So in red, write this down, okay? Write the equation down on your graph paper and label it standard form. That's ax plus by equals c. Notice it's a times x plus b times y equals c. The variables are on one side and the constants on the other. That's an indication you have something in standard form. And the question is, how do you graph that using intercepts? Well, we're going to do two things. We're going to solve for the x-intercept by letting y equal 0 and solving for x, and we're going to plot it. Okay, we got a y-axis here, we got an x-axis here. All right, so it's really easy. You use zeros, okay? Look at this. Let y equal 0. So here we go. 2 times x minus 4 times y. Okay, you got to insert a 0 right here. Look at that. In for y. All right, that is equal to 8. All right, you set y equal to 0 and solve for x. That's how you find the x-intercept. I'll graph it and explain why here in a minute. Okay, that's 0, right? Negative 4 times 0 is 0. 2x minus 0 is 2x. And so you get 2x equals 8. Well, hopefully you can know that 2 times 4 is 8, so x is 4. However, if you want to divide by 2 and solve it, you'll still get x equals 4. So your y-intercept, your x-intercept here, is put in red, is 4 comma 0. Look at that, y is equal to 0, and let's plot it. 4 comma 0 is right here. 4 comma 0, it's an x-intercept. It's where the line crosses the x-axis. Notice the x-axis is horizontal right here. Okay? Okay, it's the point where the line crosses or meets x-axis. That's why they call it an x-intercept. Okay, write that down. And make sure you write that down. So draw a graph off to the side in your graph paper here as you're correcting your work. Label 4 comma 0, 4 units to the right, and write down where the line meets the x-axis. That's the meaning of the x-intercept. Okay? X-intercept first. Now the y-intercept. Okay, well, we reverse the process. We let x equal 0 and solve for y. It's the method of using zeros as I explained in my lessons, my previous lessons. So here we're going to go 2 times 0 now. So 2 times 0, there it is, minus 4 times y equals 8. So notice that I substitute in 0 right here in for x, right? It's 2 times x or 2 times 0. Well, anything times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4y is a negative 4y. Okay, you bring the term down. It's being subtracted, so it's negative. All right, not 4y equals 8. Well, there's a minus sign there that makes that term negative. Okay, if you don't see it, watch this. Add the opposite. Look at that. It's negative, okay? So now we divide both sides by negative 4, or we just use your head. Negative 4 times negative 2 is 8, so the answer better be negative 2. So y is equal to negative 2 when x is 0. So what does that mean? You have 0, -2. That's called your y-intercept, and that's plotted down here. Okay, that's called the y-intercept. It's where the line meets the y-axis. Now I want you to write this down in your notes, okay, or in your correction sheet. Write down all these specific things. Otherwise, I'm not going to let you retest. Okay, that's if you miss this. Okay, you have to understand really what you're doing. Well, you take your straight edge out and you connect. All right. So let's see here. Line them up. There we go. Draw your line. Okay. And that's the method of finding intercepts. We got the X-intercept first. This is the X-intercept. We got your Y-intercept here. And you graph the 2 points because 2 points determine a line. 2 points determine a line. That's a key point. Write that down too. Okay? And that's how you do number 1. That's called the intercept method. Okay, and the method by finding the X and Y intercepts is called the intercept method. Intercept method. Okay, boom, there you go. Okay, now what's the next one? Let's go ahead and continue here. We want to graph the line by solving for Y. Let's highlight that. Okay, different technique, right? So let's isolate Y. Okay, and Y is being multiplied by 5 and then added to 3x. So step number 1, you always add, all right, the opposite. And you can look in your notes too, by the way, in section 5.3. These are the 2 steps. You always add the opposite of the x term. Add the opposite of, in this case, it's 3x. So that's -3x. You add a -3x to both sides. Okay, so what do you get? That's 0 right here. And you get 5y is equal to -3x plus 15. You add the opposite. You add a -3x to both sides. 15 plus -3x is -3x plus 15. Okay, and then now what do? Well, y is being multiplied by 5, right? So step 2, you divide by the coefficient of y. Because the inverse of multiplying is dividing. So divide by the coefficient of y. If you look back in your notes, we wrote these 2 steps down every single time. So divide them all individually. Okay, I see 3 terms. So you should divide all 3 terms by 5. Well, you get y is equal to -3/5, pull out the fraction, times x plus 3. All right, 15 divided by 5 is usually 3. And if you compare y equals m times x plus b here, you'll notice that the slope is -3/5. You'll notice that the y-intercept is 3. So you have a slope, m for slope, monter, remember that, monter, that French word meaning to climb, -3/5, which means down 3, right 5, from the y-intercept, okay, right here, of 3, or 0, 3. It's a point. So you always plot this first, okay, and let's plot it in red so you can see it. So 0, 3 is up here. All right, and let's label that y-intercept here. So it's on the y-axis. Remember that. It's a point on the y-axis. 0, 3. It's just up 3, right up there. Okay, 0 right and left, up 3. So from there, you go down 3, right 5. Use the slope. So down 3, right 5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you plot a point. And so you get your straight edge out and you draw your line right there. Okay, you can see the slope. See, down 3, right 5. You can see the slope. Look at that. Okay. All right, and so there you go. That's the method of solving for y, getting a slope-intercept form. This is what's called the slope-intercept form method. Let's write that down. Slope-intercept form method. Uh-oh, what happened here? It's called that because we get in slope-intercept form, so you can see those 2 things. I mean, obviously they're right here and here, right? Okay, so the method is basically what you're doing to graph the function, okay? If you're using intercepts, it's called the intercept method. If you're solving for y equals mx plus b, all right? Notice it's that slope-intercept form, then you're using slope-intercept form method. All right, it is what it is in mathematics. All right, number 3. Let's see here. Given 2 points, find the equation of the line. Okay, using what's called point slope form. Now you should have this memorized too because it was a major technique in section 4. This is section 5-4 in your notes. And you got to find the slope first. So let's find the slope. Delta y divided by delta x. All right, and we want to subtract up. All these points right here, I want you to write down in your notes. If you miss this, write it down. Otherwise, I will not let you retest because you're not doing the right thing. All right, you got to change the way you do things. You got to do things better. All right, if you're going to get better results, you got to be better yourself, okay? Because the definition of insanity is that, you do the same thing but expect different results. Okay? Uh, that's not obviously possible. So you got to change things. You got to do it better. All right, so you got to subtract the y values first. So 1 minus 7. Notice they're the second coordinates. Divided by 4 minus 1, subtract up. You get negative 6 divided by 3, which is negative 2. So m equals negative 2. There's your slope. Next step, you have to substitute in a point and a slope, hence the name point slope form. I got my slope, that's no problem. I'm going to substitute this in, but I need my point. So I have y minus something is equal to my slope of negative 2 times x minus something. I got to substitute in my y1 and my x1. So what are they, right? Well, you got to pick a point. So let's suppose I pick 4, 1. That's my point I choose, x1, y1. So I'm going to put a 1 here and a 4 here. I got to substitute x4 in for x1 and right there. All right, 4 in for my x1 and 1 in for my y1. And then I got to isolate y. Now, if this is going too fast, pause the video, listen to it multiple times, and catch up. Take advantage of the technology, okay? So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. A negative 2 times a negative 4 is a positive 8. Okay? And you get the following, and then you have to isolate y, so add 1 and add like terms, and you get y is equal to negative 2x plus 9. All right? That's what's called finding the equation of the line, right here. And this is in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. So pause the video, take detailed notes, and then afterwards you can practice this multiple times and to get it right. Really, it doesn't take a genius to pass Algebra 1 with an A, guys. Not at all. It takes good practice. You got to correct your mistakes, and you got to do things the right way, just like in sports. All right? You practice poorly, you do poorly. You practice well, you do well. Okay? Remember that. Okay, on this one, we got to isolate y and express the equation in slope-intercept form. I've been saying that all lesson long. So y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form. So let's go for it here. We've got a negative 2x plus 7y equals 14. Let me see, I just went over this right up here, right? Look at this. We add the opposite and then divide by the coefficient. So let's do that. So the opposite of 2x is negative 2x. Opposites always cancel to 0. So 0 plus 7y is just 7y is equal to 2x plus 14. You add the opposite, so you apply the same rules, the same steps. Now divide by the coefficient of y, and guess what? It's 7, right? So divide everything by 7 here, here, and here, and you get y is equal to 2/7 x. 14 divided by 7 is 2. And there you go. And that's your equation in slope-intercept form. So what you guys have to do, all right, you got to practice each one 5 times, all right? Practice each one missed. Practice each one missed 5 times, all right? Correctly. That's the key, all right? That is the key. Why? Because if you don't do it right, then you're not going to get the right result. I used to put in more time practicing on things, whether it be sports or academics, than anybody else that I knew at the time when I was in school. That's why I did really well, both in the school, both in that classroom, and also on the ball field. I was a scholar and an athlete. And what you guys have to do is the same thing. So take whatever you missed here, do it right 5 times in a row. Obviously, not all in, practice number 1, then 2, and then 5, whatever ones you missed, and then go back and do numbers 1, 2, and 5 again, and then do numbers 1, 2, and 5 again until you can get it right easily, quickly, and then go back into your notes. Find your lessons, all right, and practice the examples in your lessons as well. Practice examples in your lessons. That's why you took notes, guys. All right, write that down too, so that I have proof that you guys actually watched this video and you are listening to me. Okay, write this down. I'm going to be looking for it. And if I don't see it and I don't see proof of your practice, well, then I am not going to allow you to retake the quiz. Okay, so do the right thing. Correct your quiz first, practice it, and then go into your lessons. Okay, as I just said, like 3 or 4 times in a row, go into your lessons and practice the examples again. All right, to develop some mastery here, because you didn't know it before, obviously, because you got them wrong on the quiz. So go back and do the right thing and do a lot of it. All right, this is Mr. Ainsworth. All right, perfect practice makes perfect. Remember that. Not any kind of practice. Practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice does. And do a lot of it, and I'll see you in my next lesson. This is Ainsworth. I'm out of here.